Welcome back to English Speaking Corner, your quiet space for building real confidence. Have you ever been trapped in a conversation or you had absolutely no idea what the other person was saying, but you kept smiling and nodding anyway?
Imagine you're at lunch. The cafeteria is loud. Plates are clattering. Your coworker is excited. They are talking fast about a game or a show you have never heard of. You missed the name 10 seconds ago. Now they are waiting for your opinion. Your heart starts beating fast.
I used to do this constantly when I was first learning my second language. I was so terrified of looking slow or stupid that I just pretended to understand everything. I would nod and say wow until one day someone asked me a question I couldn't answer, and I just froze.
It is a terrible feeling, but today we stop the fake nod. By the end of this episode, you will have 3 polite pause phrases that give you total control when you feel lost.
Let's start by talking about that moment of panic. We call it the fake nod trap. It happens when we prioritize being polite over being honest. You think, if I stop them, I will ruin the flow. I will look like a beginner. So you act.
Exactly. You become an actor instead of a speaker. You smile, you nod, you make listening noises like or really. But inside, you are calculating. You are thinking, maybe I can figure it out from context. But usually you cannot.
And the danger is that the conversation moves forward without you. If you fake a nod at the beginning, you're building a house on sand. 2 minutes later, they might ask, "So, what do you think we should do about it?" And because you nodded earlier, you cannot say, "I don't know." You are trapped.
It destroys connection. We think we are being friendly by nodding, but actually we are building a wall. The other person thinks they are sharing a moment with you, but you are not really there. You are hiding.
So the first step to confidence is not better grammar. It is the courage to stop the train. It is the courage to say, "Wait, I am not on board yet."
But you cannot just shout "stop" or look confused. That feels rude. You need specific, professional phrases that pause the conversation with dignity. We are going to learn 3 levels of these phrases today.
We call these pause phrases. They are tools. When you use them, you are not admitting defeat. You are actually showing that you are an active listener who wants to understand.
Let's look at level 1. This is the easiest strategy. We call this the acoustic check.
This strategy is perfect because it takes the blame off of your English skills. You are not saying, "My English is bad." You're saying, "The environment is difficult."
Right. Maybe the room is loud. Maybe they spoke too quietly. Maybe they mumbled. Even native speakers miss words all the time. I say, "Sorry, I missed that," probably 5 times a day.
So here's the situation. You heard the sound of their voice, but the words did not land clearly in your ear. Do not guess. Immediately use the acoustic check. The phrase is, "Sorry, I didn't catch that last part."
Sorry, I didn't catch that last part.
Let's look at the verb there, catch. It is very natural. We don't usually say, "I did not hear that." Hear refers to the sound volume. Catch means to grasp the meaning or the specific words. "I didn't catch that." It implies that the words flew past you too quickly. It is a very soft, polite way to ask for a repeat. Let's practice this together. I want you to listen to the rhythm and then speak it out loud in the pause.
Sorry, I didn't catch that last part.
Sorry, I didn't catch that last part.
Notice the intonation. It goes down slightly at the end. It is a statement of fact, not a desperate question. You are calm. You are just reporting a technical issue. I didn't catch that.
You can also add a reason to make it even smoother. You can blame the noise. This makes the other person feel like it's not their fault either. It's just the room.
You can say, "It's a bit loud in here. I didn't catch that."
Let's try that. Imagine the cafeteria noise. You lean in slightly.
"It's a bit loud in here. I didn't catch that."
It's a bit loud in here. I didn't catch that.
When you say this, the native speaker will almost always do 2 things. First, they will apologize. They will say, "Oh, sorry." And second, they will repeat the sentence more clearly and usually a bit louder.
And you didn't have to ask them to "speak slowly, please," which can make you feel like a child. You just pointed out the noise and they naturally adjusted for you. It's a power move.
Now, sometimes the problem is not the noise. Sometimes you heard the word perfectly, but you simply do not know what it means. This brings us to level 2, the vocabulary check.
This is harder for our ego. We hate admitting we don't know a word. But remember, native speakers don't know every word either. If Mark starts talking to me about advanced engineering or a specific video game, I will have to stop him and ask what he means.
That is true. If I use a slang word or a technical term, I expect you to ask. If you nod, I assume you know it. If you ask, I am happy to explain.
The key here is to ask with curiosity, not shame. Do not look down at your feet. Look them in the eye. You are interested. You want to learn. The phrase we use is, I'm not familiar with that term. Could you explain it?
I like using the word term instead of word. Word is fine, but term sounds a bit more professional, a bit more intellectual. It suggests that this is a specific concept you haven't encountered yet.
I'm not familiar with that term. It sounds very elegant. It means I have not met this idea before.
Let's practice this. Imagine your coworker mentions the Super Bowl or inflation or depreciation, and you are not sure what it is.
Listen and repeat. I'm not familiar with that term.
I'm not familiar with that term.
Now let's add the request. Could you explain it?
Could you explain it?
Let's put it together. I'm not familiar with that term. Could you explain it?
I'm not familiar with that term. Could you explain it?
Notice how Mark says it. He sounds confident. He is not apologizing for his existence. He is just asking for information.
Another variation, if you want to be a bit more casual, is simply, I've never heard of that. What is it?
That works great for movies, songs, or cultural events. If someone says, Did you see the game last night? And you don't know what sport they are talking about, don't just say no. Say, I've never heard of that team. Who are they?
Let's practice that casual version. I've never heard of that. What is it?
I've never heard of that. What is it?
By using these phrases, you turn your lack of knowledge into a conversation starter. Instead of the conversation dying because you don't understand, the conversation actually gets deeper because now they get to explain something they love to you.
People love explaining things. If you ask me about my favorite book, I will be so happy to tell you. I won't think your English is bad. I will think you are a great conversationalist because you are interested in what I am saying.
Before we move to the third level, which is the most important one for saving yourself from disaster, I want to take a brief second to remind you why we are here.
We create these episodes because we know that speaking English isn't just about memorizing lists of words. It is about how you feel when you open your mouth. We want you to feel calm, prepared, and capable in any situation.
If you are finding these scripts helpful and you want to build this kind of real-world confidence every week, please consider subscribing to the channel. It helps us keep this quiet study space open for you.
Thank you for listening and practicing with us. Now, let's talk about the scariest situation. Level 3.
Level 3 is the total reset. This is for when things have gone wrong. Maybe you tried to fake nod for a minute. Maybe you were distracted. Maybe they are speaking incredibly fast and you have lost the entire thread of the conversation.
You are drowning. You know that feeling? They are talking, and you are just thinking, I have no idea what is happening. You cannot use the acoustic check because you missed too much. You cannot use the vocabulary check because you don't even know which word to ask about.
You need to stop the train completely. You need to reset the conversation. This requires a strong phrase because you are interrupting.
The phrase starts with an apology, but it is a confident apology. Sorry to interrupt, but I want to make sure I understand.
This is brilliant because I want to make sure I understand is a very positive motivation. You are interrupting because you care about the message. You are not interrupting because you are bored or slow. You are diligent.
Exactly. It frames the interruption as a professional quality. Sorry to interrupt, but I want to make sure I understand.
Let's practice just that opening. It is a bit longer, so take a deep breath.
Sorry to interrupt, but I want to make sure I understand.
Sorry to interrupt, but I want to make sure I understand.
After you say that, you have to tell them where you are lost. You can say, Are you talking about? And then summarize the one tiny piece you did catch.
For example, are you talking about the new project? Or are you saying we need to change the date?
Even if you are wrong, it helps. If you say, Are you talking about the project? And they say, No, I'm talking about lunch. Then you have successfully saved the conversation. You are back on the same track.
But what if you understood nothing? Zero? Then you can say, I'm a bit lost. Could we go back to the beginning?
That is brave, but it is better than pretending for 10 minutes and then looking foolish at the end. Honesty is always more respected than fake understanding.
Let's practice the phrase for when you are totally lost. To be honest, I'm a bit lost.
To be honest, I'm a bit lost.
Could you say that again a little more slowly?
Could you say that again a little more slowly?
When you ask someone to speak slowly, do not make a sad face. Smile. Make it a shared problem. I really want to hear this story, but my brain is a little slow today. Could you slow down?
That is a great tip. Blame your brain. Blame the coffee, blame the morning. It lightens the mood.
So we have our 3 strategies: the acoustic check for noise, the vocabulary check for new words, and the total reset for when you are drowning.
Now we are going to do something a little different. We are going to run a simulation. A simulator is a safe place to practice danger.
I am going to act as the fast talker. I am going to start telling a story. I will speak slightly faster than usual, maybe mumble a bit, maybe use some difficult words. I want you to listen.
Your job is not to understand him perfectly. Your job is to wait for the moment where you feel confused. As soon as you feel that panic, I want you to say one of the phrases we learned out loud. Interrupt him. Stop the audio if you have to.
Ready? I'm going to start talking about a made-up problem with my car. Here we go. So anyway, I was driving down the motorway yesterday, just cruising along, and suddenly the transmission starts making this clunking sound, like a rhythmic thumping, and I'm thinking, oh great, the differential is probably shot again.
Pause. Did you feel it? He was using words like transmission and differential and speaking fast. What could you say right there?
You could say, sorry, I'm not familiar with that term. What is a differential?
Or you could say, sorry, I didn't catch that last part. It's a bit fast for me.
Let's try one more. This time, I will be the mumbler. I will speak quietly and unclearly. You need to use the acoustic check. Hey, did you see the memo about the new schedule changes for the holiday?
Pause. He mumbled the most important part. If you just nodded there, you would miss the schedule change. You would be late for work. You have to stop him.
You should have said, sorry, I didn't catch that. It's a bit loud in here.
Or simply, could you say that one more time?
The goal of this simulation is to train your reflex. Usually, your reflex is to nod. We want to change your reflex so that when you hear confusion, your mouth opens and says, sorry, pause.
It is like muscle memory. The first few times you do it in real life, your heart will race. You will feel rude. But then you will see the other person smile and repeat themselves, and you will realize, oh, I am safe. I am in control.
That is the transformation. You go from being a passenger in the conversation, just sitting there hoping the car goes to the right place, to being the driver. You can steer, you can brake, you can check the map.
And the most amazing thing is that people like talking to drivers more than passengers. When you ask for clarification, you make the other person feel heard. You make them feel important.
Think about it. If you tell a joke and someone laughs politely but clearly didn't get it, it feels awkward. But if they say, wait, I don't get it, explain it to me, and then they laugh for real after you explain, that is a real connection.
So do not rob yourself of real connections just because you are afraid of asking a question.
We have covered a lot today. We talked about why we fake nod, fear and politeness. We learned the acoustic check. Sorry, I didn't catch that.
We learned the vocabulary check. I'm not familiar with that term.
And we learned the total reset. Sorry to interrupt, but I want to make sure I understand.
I want to give you a specific challenge for this week. We call it the No Nod Challenge.
For the next 7 days, promise yourself one thing. You are not allowed to nod unless you understand 100% of the sentence.
If you understand 90%, you must stop and ask about the 10%. If you understand 50%, you must stop and ask, even if it is just a small detail.
Try to use the acoustic check at least once this week. Even if you actually heard the word, use the phrase just to practice it. Find a safe situation, maybe with a friend or a teacher, and say, sorry, I didn't catch that. See how it feels to control the pace.
You will be surprised. The world will not end. People will not laugh. They will simply repeat themselves, and you will continue the conversation with true confidence.
Real fluency isn't about knowing every word. It's about knowing what to do when you don't.
You have the tools now. Go out and use them.
See you in the next episode.
Goodbye.